Hi, welcome back to another one of my fair weather fan videos. I have actually been really surprised to see that people are watching these videos, like people I don't actually know in real life. So hi, randos. I figured what I would do today before the reaction video I do this weekend for the game is sort of do like a roundup of stuff that happened during the week, stuff I saw on Twitter. Yes, I call it Twitter, don't at me. I have been very vocal about not liking Twitter for many, many years. I have regularly referred to it as a hive of scum and villainy, and I do not take that back, and it has definitely not gotten better, but it is actually a really good way to get information about sports and what's going on in football on any given day. It also informs me about college football, which I will never understand, and don't really want to if it involves things like the Pop Tart Bowl. Yes, that was a toaster pastry furry frolicking on top of a makeshift toaster. Last week at the Chargers game, there were like more Bills fans than Chargers fans at that game, I swear to God. There was a kid in the end zone in Bills regalia, and Josh saw him at the end of the game and went over and gave him his hat, which was adorable, except for the fact that there was another kid standing next to him who's also a Bills fan and also had a big sign, and Josh apparently did not see it.
It is the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat, but Josh still made it right.
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Good. Hi.
I just wanted to call you and say I'm sorry about last night. I was able to saw your sign. Merry Christmas. Thank you for supporting the Bills, and I'm going to send you out a couple little things if that's okay with you.
Thank you. Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Merry Christmas to you, but you have a great day, okay?
That was Josh Allen. No.
Okay, so obviously the mom's reaction at the end there is super fake because they had a camera set up so they all knew what was happening other than the kid. But regardless, the fact that he went to the trouble to track down that kid, I think, is part of why Bills fans like Josh so much.
Again, it didn't take much time. Doesn't take much to do something like that to make a kid's day.
I told my husband about this whole thing, and he made a crack about my parasocial relationship with Josh Allen, and that's fair. But parasocial relationships are sort of the foundation of football fandom. Like, if we didn't care about the players, why should we care about the game? A lot of people say that football is scripted. I don't buy that. I don't think that it's possible to find this many superstar athletes who are also Oscar caliber actors. So I don't think it's literally scripted, but the NFL is definitely long-form improvisational storytelling. But if I do have a parasocial relationship with Josh Allen, it's not because he does cute things for kids. It's because we have at least one thing in common.
I'm a big meme lord. Like, I love memes, right?
Okay, all right.
So more Bills news. I happened to be online yesterday when they were doing a live streaming media availability, and who should come sit down in front of the camera but Von Miller. And I was like, ooh, you're putting Von behind a microphone right now? I don't know how that's gonna go for you guys.
You know, obviously there are things that I can't talk about.
Yep, you probably can't talk to us about a lot of stuff. So, what useful insights are you going to provide to us during this 2-minute long rambling monologue, Von Miller?
You know, just a tough patch, you know, on and off the football field, and you just got to keep pushing. You just got to keep pushing and keep moving. You just got to keep pushing. You just got to keep playing, keep pushing. You know, you just keep pushing, keep going. Sometimes life's just be lifing.
Yes. Life do be life. And look, Von's personal life right now, I don't know what happened. I have my own suspicions based on patterns of behavior, but apparently there's not going to be anything done by it on the Bills' end of things unless he's suspended by the league, and he's not going to get suspended by the league. So we're just going to sit here on a 6-year contract that is paying 0 dividends, and we can't cut him without a giant cap hit. We gave him a big contract. That's all I know. When he was old, and then he hurt himself, and now he's not doing shit. Let's just look at the numbers. By the numbers, Von has not done anything notable the entire time he's been back from his injury. So if Epinesa is back this weekend and Von is still getting the same number of snaps that he's gotten the last couple games, I'm not going to be happy about it. And that's all I have to say about that. My family and I actually went to Buffalo a couple days ago after Christmas to go have dinner at Costa Pizza, which is my favorite restaurant in the whole wide world. This is not paid promotion. I just really love that fucking pizza. So I'm sitting in the restaurant and there are a bunch of TVs above the bar, and one of them has Aaron Rodgers on it. I figure they're talking about the whole thing where, I don't know, Aaron Rodgers got taken off of injured reserve, and it meant that some other player got bumped off the roster, but then he got put back on the roster, and people were mad about it, and then Aaron Rodgers claimed that he told them not to bump the guy off the... And, you know, I don't give a fuck about what's happening with the Jets. The whole team, the Jets are ridiculous. I know we lost to them. But yeah, the closed captions are going, and I look up and I read.
And everybody could know at that point that they have their puppet masters who are puppeteering them to say this certain thing about.
And I just turn to my husband and I go, oh my God, Aaron Rodgers is on TV talking about puppet masters. When I get home, the clip is going around, and of course it's about vaccines again.
Let's make people say their vax status to start. Then that'll frame all these comments in the right window. But let's have them say, hey, I'm so-and-so, double vaxxed with Pfizer and triple boosted.
God bless Ryan Fitzpatrick. Took him up on it right away.
Hey, Aaron, Ryan Fitzpatrick, class of 2005. How are you?
Hey, buddy.
Twice vaccinated. Quick question for you.
You gotta love that guy. Know who else took him up on it? Nick Wright.
Double vaxxed, Pfizer, not boosted.
I mentioned Nick Wright in the last video. I am not a fan. You want to talk about parasocial relationships? Nick Wright has built up some sort of parasocial relationship with Josh Allen to the extent that you would think that Josh Allen gave him swirlies in middle school. It's unhealthy. But I had the very unpleasant experience this week of agreeing with Nick Wright. I don't like when that happens, but here it is.
Aaron thinks that he's the relative on Thanksgiving that nobody wants to, get caught in a corner with because this guy tells you the hard truths.
Oh, yeah.
When in reality, it's because you've told me to read 48 Laws of Power and about the Illuminati every Thanksgiving for a decade, and I'm tired of it.
Yeah, we all know that guy.
Kirk Cousins not vaxxed. Nobody says a mumbling word about it. Nope. I'm pretty sure Lamar Jackson's not vaxxed. I'm not sure. Best I can tell, Lamar Jackson won't even take Dayquil. My guy gets sick every year. He's going to win the MVP. The commentary is not about your vaccination status. It's about you being the most disingenuous athlete of my lifetime. You were disingenuous about the vaccine. That was annoying. Not the status, the way you did it. You were disingenuous about your retirement status. 90% retired. You were disingenuous about coming out of the dark room, I'm going to play for the Packers. That was my only goal. You were disingenuous about how well Verizon works in Southern California. You were then disingenuous about whether or not you wanted...
I laughed really hard at the Verizon line. I will give him credit for that.
So this is not about anyone's private medical decisions. It's about the biggest look at me Louie saying to his best buddy McAfee, why is everyone looking at me? It's so irritating.
Dude, when Nick Wright calls you irritating, you really need to sit down and take a look at your life choices. Moving on, I talked a little bit in the last video about the Niners. They did not have a good game last week, and apparently Cam Newton was talking shit on Brock Purdy, and Deebo Samuel did not take kindly to that.
First of all, Cam Newton stopped texting my phone, bro. He was a fan like 2 weeks ago. Like, that's mad crazy. Like, you wanted me on your podcast after talking about my quarterback, which is funny to me.
So Deebo claimed that Cam Newton asked him to be on his podcast. Cam Newton then went ahead and contested that claim.
You said something like, Cam, stop calling my phone. I'm like, motherfucker, I don't got your number.
I love that football is now just players sniping back and forth at each other on social media. It adds a whole other layer to the game that we did not have in like 1992. We just had to listen to players snipe at each other in actual press conferences.
I really don't think at this point in time that Miami really gives us the respect that we deserve, really, because the way they shoot off at them often saying that, you know, they didn't play well the last time we were up here. Well, I think they played pretty damn good today, but they got their ass kicked.
Now they say nothing in press conferences.
Sometimes life just be lifing.
Anyway, this is where it gets fun. Cam Newton asked for receipts. So Deebo goes on Twitter and posts screen caps from some text messages that he apparently got from Cam Newton. Deebo. That was not Cam Newton. I know these guys are busy, but if Deebo just took a few minutes to become a meme lord like Josh Allen, he wouldn't have fallen for this shit. I want to know how many UPS packages Deebo Samuel has signed for by text because they were undeliverable. I want to know how many times he's freaked out because his Netflix account was shut down and he had to click on that link to open it back up again.
Shit, so whoever the fuck calling you Deebo, it ain't me, bit, bro. But I still fuck with you.
So it was actually some frat bros who managed to get a hold of Deebo Samuel's phone number. I would really like to know if there's ever been a more fellas group chat than the one featuring Forrest Sipes, Hayden Kelly, and Callum King trolling Deebo Samuel. This is why Russell Wilson does not give out his phone number to his teammates. Segue. Russell Wilson got benched yesterday as a preamble to him presumably being traded in the offseason. And anyone who watched Sean Payton go off on him on the sidelines a few games ago was not surprised by this development.
Well, there is a very animated discussion.
So I was watching that game, and it was a really ugly sequence of goal line plays that earlier I had seen the Vikings pull this shit where they made their backup quarterback, whichever one they're on at this point, try the same quarterback sneak twice in a row, even though it didn't work at all the first time, and they basically lost the game that way. I thought that was the worst attempt at a short yardage play I was going to see that day. I was wrong. But I didn't understand at the time why Sean Payton was blaming Russell Wilson and freaking out at him. It really wasn't his fault. Sean Payton called a bad play, managed the clock poorly, wasn't communicating with his quarterback. He basically lost the game doing that, and he's passing the buck. So it didn't sit right with me at the time, and it clearly didn't sit right with Ryan Clark either.
Let's hold Sean Payton to some sort of professional accountability. His behavior as the head coach of the Denver Broncos is unacceptable.
As much as I dislike Nick Wright, I really like Ryan Clark. Like, I don't agree with everything Ryan Clark says by a long shot, but his energy is just totally, like, he chills me out to watch, where Nick Wright is just straight on nails on a chalkboard. Yeah, I went back and read up on Sean Payton just because his energy just seemed really off to me. You know, I was out of football fandom for quite some time, and so I don't really know a lot of the ins and outs of the dynamics of veteran coaches other than, like, Belichick and Tomlin. But apparently Sean Payton was suspended for like a year back when he was coaching for the Saints because the Saints defensive coordinator was paying his players bonuses when they injured certain players on opposing teams. That's the shit that makes me not want to watch football. Just dirty shit like that. Dirty players. What's the fun in that? That shit's just unacceptable. And Sean Payton knew about it and didn't do anything about it, so they suspended him. And this just tracked with me completely because Sean Payton just strikes me as like a coach I would have hated in middle school or high school. Somebody who would have just made playing the sport absolutely no fun. So yeah, Sean Payton definitely vibed to me like the sort of guy who would be fine with that. Russell Wilson is not a quarterback I know a ton about, but I get the sense that he gets a lot of flack for, let's say, respectability. Like, he seems like a guy who was really into Bill Cosby's pound cake speech in his formative years, but he also just seems like a solid professional, and you have to have respect for a guy who doesn't let himself get baited by his coach screaming at him on the sidelines and, like, pulling contract shenanigans, trying to get him to give up his injury protection.
The humility that Russell Wilson has shown, the professionalism that Russell Wilson has shown inside of that building while being treated that way by that man, all I got to say to Sean Payton is you lucky you had the right one.
But I think Russell Wilson's going to come out of this okay. He's about to get paid millions of dollars for doing absolutely nothing, and he goes home to Ciara at the end of the day.
Same price, different time, hot song jumped on because Ciara got sex appeal.
On a funnier note, Jaire Alexander got suspended for one game. I did not recognize the name Jaire Alexander specifically, but it sounded familiar, so I looked him up and I found this interview, which I do remember very clearly.
Walk us through that play, what happened and how'd you grab it?
Oh man, that's easy. So I'm just lining up. I seen number 10 motion over. Hey Jones, here. I seen number 10 coming across the field. I said, oh snap, he fast. So I backed off. When I backed off, I seen him coming. He ran right in front of me. I was like, wow, is he really overthrowing it? Took it down the sideline, turned over with my guys, gave the football to a little kid wearing 23.
The dude's a nutcase. The issue this week was he unilaterally decided to go out on the field as a captain for the coin toss before the game because he's from Charlotte. They were playing the Panthers. So he thought he should just get to be a captain. I don't think that's how it works.
So were you supposed to be a captain? Because the team announces the 3 game captains and you were the 4th and you called the toss. What happened there?
Oh, yeah, I mean, you know, it's only suiting, you know. I don't think Coach knew I was from Charlotte, you know, so.
So you just did that on your own?
I mean, you know, it was like a, you know, the guys backed me up, you know, so they knew I was from here.
So the Packers won the toss, and he said that he wanted them to be on defense. So this is something I learned. You're not supposed to say you want to be on one side or the other if you win the coin toss. If you want to receive the kickoff in the second half, you have to say that you defer, because that means the other team gets to pick for the first half, you get to pick for the second half. If you say, I want to be on defense, that's you choosing, and that means the other team gets to choose at the beginning of the second half, so they can basically get the ball at the beginning of both halves. You don't want that. So the ref bailed him out and was like, you mean you want to defer?
Nah, he was just like, defer? I was like, yeah. Everybody was like, yeah. Everybody was laughing. I'm like, what y'all laughing at? Like, it's pretty obvious what I'm asking for.
When I watched this video, I really thought he was high, but then I saw that other interview and was like, oh no, that's just how he is.
So did anyone say anything to you when you got back to the sideline?
Why would they?
Yeah, they said something to him after the game. Last thing. There's a lot of talk right now about this yearly award for Comeback Player of the Year, and the front runner is Damar Hamlin. Like, if you look at the name of the award literally, it's kind of hard to compete with coming back from dying on Monday Night Football. But of course, since it involved the Bills, Dolphins fans had to insert themselves into the conversation, and this tweet came across my feed. So I get it. Tua had a tough year last year, skull integrity-wise, but it seems like the discussion here is comparing coming back from death to play like 5 snaps on special teams to coming back from 2 nasty concussions to be like maybe the 4th best quarterback in the AFC. I said it. 4th. So honestly, I think we should just set that whole conversation aside and give the award to somebody who I think fits the framework of what the award really was originally intended to recognize, and that would be Joe Flacco, who has come back from being disgustingly old. I could have been in high school at the same time as this guy. Joe Flacco has like off the charts middle-aged dad joke energy. He makes Kirk Cousins look young and hip. This is definitely a man who tightens ratchet straps around things and smacks it and says, that's not going anywhere.
Oh, there he is. That was you, Jason.
Okay, but please don't touch that man's hair. On a shittier note, this happened after a Joe Flacco pass last night.
The 50-yard line, he goes. C.J. Mosley makes the tackle. He's now caught 5 on 6 targets for 61 yards, and he needs a little extra time.
So I really hope we're not discussing an Elijah Moore comeback award next year. That was really scary. Like, that's a serious brain injury. So once again, I'm back to grappling with the moral issues around being a fan of football, and that's just something I think we all need to do as fans of this sport, is every now and then to think about what we're spending our time and energy on. So with that said, the Bills might be looking at both Flacco and Tua in the postseason, but we got to get there first, so I will be posting a reaction video after the Patriots game this Sunday. At the very least, we know that Easton Stick and Giff Smith are rooting for us to win the Super Bowl, so that's kind of cool.
Hell of a game, brother.
Yeah, man.
Hell of a game.
Great job. Good luck the rest of the way.
Appreciate you.
Go
See
win
you
it.
around. See you, Coach. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Hey, go win it.
We'll do. Appreciate it.
They might have their own parasocial relationships with Josh Allen. I'm pretty sure that's the first time either of them met him.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.